Good day everyone, and today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to look at Rotgrind, A World in Decay, an upcoming TTRPG by the former Warhams team and now called Zora the Bear and Co. I think, or Zora the Bear is definitely the lead I think on this project. So I thought what we would do is I would look at Rotgrind or the primer PDF that's available for free and just talk about it, what my thoughts on it, about it, how I think that the outlook and the overlay looks like, and what the lore sounds and feels like. Okay, so this is a blind reading, which means I've not looked at this before. It's my first impressions, and I hope that's okay with everyone. There might be some edits to this video, if I'm just scrolling or something, so I'll just use the relevant pieces of information that I think are required. So let's begin. It's a Grimdark fantasy setting. Obviously they're very inspired by Warhammer 40,000. Now Grimdark can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, so let's see what it means to Zora the Bear and Co. What is Rotgrind? So we get the very first page here and we have a look. So the rot seems to be both a biological infection, maybe extraterrestrial, maybe otherworldly, and sort of malaise that's affecting the entire world of Rotgrind. If we see here, it's the world of Tyne, which is quite cool. I like the nice, easy sounding title, and the format, and the text is very nice and very clear. The game seems to be about people fighting back against this sort of malaise and rot, and also maybe people who are taking advantage of this sort of thing. It's in its nascent stages, so we're going to have a lot of basic information without the intricate details of the setting. I'm going to keep an eye on this one and maybe do some updates if this video does well. It is for Pathfinder 2nd edition. I do love Pathfinder. I've made that very clear. I think Pathfinder is a better system than D&D at the moment, but I like some of the settings better in D&D than in Pathfinder. So both games have their advantages and disadvantages. I think from a rules point of view, Pathfinder has the edge. From a setting point of view, maybe Forgotten Realms before the Spell Plague has the edge, as well as Spelljammer and Dark Sun and Ravenloft, and a few others. So we get some really dark, contrasting artwork on the right here, and we have some lovely castle work here on the left. I like the rot that's an actual physical condition of the world. It really does bring the setting to life. The concept of the rot is integral to the campaign, and over the past 300 years has spread across the world. Rot appears in the setting as corruption that takes root in all things, inevitably exerting some sort of alien influence on them. So maybe it's sentient. In game terms, rot is a bespoke type of damage, so it's like a sort of new damage effect, and has unique interactions, so maybe we will be able to communicate somehow with it, or try to investigate it in a sort of like Holmesian Watson-esque adventure. No, not that Watson. In a world that's dying, it can be hard for adventurers to stand against the threats against them for too long. Luckily, some divine powers and other esoteric forces grant their blessings to those who struggle against the rot. These sponsors grant heroes and villains alike the uncanny ability to return from death and continue their fight, so you don't die. That's very interesting. That reminds me a lot of the way that New World handles respawning, so that reminds me of that maybe, and maybe Dark Souls as well a little bit, so maybe it's inspired by those. I'm a big fan of the setting of Dark Souls. I really like the bleakness, but also like spark of hope, so like Dark Bright is my favourite type of thing, I guess. So like it looks really, really horrible and dark, but there's some spark of hope. That's my favourite anyway. But let's continue. They've also got some technology, so guns, gunpowder, etc, etc. They've got some more nice artwork on the right, and they've got a little flask here with the rot on the left. The world of Tyne. So we get some brief information about the continents, and The focus is the continent of Prydom, the region of Solitude, and the city of Outset. The region is cut off graphically from the rest of Promida and the greater world, but has recently seen a resurgence to outsiders thanks to airships. So we've got some influence from the airships and the maybe Eberron. So maybe that's got some influence as well. Arcath. So it's got some information about the continents, the biomes, the various nations. Maybe we'll get some more information at a time. Maybe I will, as things go on, I'll do a breakdown of the factions and things and talk about it. Quite a lot so far. Interesting. So we've got a little bit of a map here, the world of Tyne, and we've got the various nations. I like the map, unlike the compass effect. It is a very Spartan map, so we don't have a lot of details on it, but it's a very interesting design of the continents and the placement of them. So doesn't seem to be much of a polar ice cap of either north or south, so that's interesting as well. Zeskuran. More information about the various continents, more information about the city of Outset, the city of a million faces, interesting, maybe some J.R.R. Martin reference from the Faceless Guild. So the gods maybe are, or maybe the people in the control don't want the city to create and expand quite a bit. They want it to remain quite compact, so interesting. Solitude, different biome there, cosmology, this betwixt, interesting. There's some the crucible of creation, so we've got different planes and maybe very inspired by the Planescape setting, maybe not. The planes are, and like different realms are a big thing of a lot of D&D-esque games or TTRPGs, going from Pathfinder, D&D, maybe, that kind of thing. But also it appears in like a lot of light novels. So Slayers has a really big cosmology out there with a really detailed one. It's one of the most detailed cosmologies that I've ever seen. Maybe as long with Dark Souls in that respect, and maybe along with a Planescape Torment and Planescape itself. Maybe Numeria as well in that respect, because that seems to have a lot of weird esoteric elements, but that's more technologically based. So let's continue. Fundamental battlefield, so good and evil, chaos and order, that kind of thing. Realms of the mind, on about the demi planes. Now we get some information about the various gods. I think that some interesting graphics choices. So they, like, in some parts it mentions that the gods are rather standoffish, but in other parts it says that they're granting power to people who fight the rot. So a bit of contradiction. Maybe it's different pantheons of gods that reverses each other. One wants to let the world fall to ruin, one doesn't. So we'll find more about that as time goes on. Monsters and myths. So there's only 11 pages to this PDF, so but it is available for free. I will post the post of Zora and the Bear's Patreon, and where you can download the PDF for free without actually needing to subscribe to his Patreon. You can just download it for free and have a look to see what you think yourselves. I would really like a discussion about it. So, creatures born of the rot. So we get some more horrific monsters. That's very interesting. That's almost like a reptilian, maybe rat-esque folk. So maybe the rot's connected to some sort of species, or maybe it mutates things. Interesting. So maybe the rot isn't just a sort of decay, maybe it's a creation as well, sort of like Nurgle's garden. So yeah. So we get some more pictures of the various things. A spider, a Darth Vader-esque knight on the right here. He's sort of like abomination dragon with lots of heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heads. Oh, that's very interesting. It's almost like a Nurgle-esque dragon, plague dragon, or a zombie dragon, but with multiple heads. What now? Your goal is to build a fully fledged. Our goal is to build a fully fledged world that you can invest yourself in, as well as run your own games. They'll be releasing a bevy of content for Pathfinder 2nd edition. The rules can easily be adapted for the game systems as necessary. So maybe they'll do a plugin pack for D&D 5th or OSR or something along those lines. I've been looking at OSR recently, so it would be interesting to see how OSR handles a setting like this. That's the Rotgrind. Yeah, so basically ZoranTheBear.com. It's published by Patty and Smith, Thurston Hillman. Laura gives the credits of the various people involved, so I'll just leave it on that. So I'll just wrap up with my final thoughts of the setting. As we don't have a lot of information regarding the setting, it is unique in some ways, but it does take a lot of cues from Warhammer and other various settings that you could describe as Grimdark, as I mentioned, Dark Souls, maybe Shriko, maybe Bloodborne and stuff like that. So we need to see where this goes. This could go one of two ways. It could go very dark, a la Fatal, or it could go Grimbright, or it could go anywhere really, but it says Grimdark, so let's see how it goes in the future, and will it continue the same tone this sort of thing feels like. There's the Zoran the Bear's website and his Twitch. I will again post the link in the description. I hope that mini look at was fine. It's my first time ever doing something like this, so if you'd like to see more of these, that's great. If you don't like this, also great. You know, I'm a big believer in seeing upvotes and downvotes. It lets me know what kind of content is good or bad. So there we go. Thank you all for your time. Do take care of yourselves, and bye bye.